Good evening and a very happy Independence Day to all our viewers. Now, as the nation celebrates its 77th Independence Day, it's a sign of winds of change in Kashmir. Srinagar's Bakshi Stadium witnessed a huge rush of people from across Jammu and Kashmir for Independence Day celebrations. It was the largest gathering of civilians at the stadium in the last 20 years. In 2003, an estimated 20,000 people gathered at the stadium for the Independence Day parade. Bakshi Stadium hosted the Independence Day event after a gap of 5 years following its partial closure for renovation and for the first time since Article 370 was revoked in 2019. As Jammu and Kashmir LG Manoj Sinha hoisted the tricolour, flower petals were showered in the crowd that had gathered to participate in the celebrations. This comes just a day after the kin of terrorists Mudassir Hussain and Javed Mattu were seen hoisting the national flag atop their houses in Kashmir. Even as Kashmir enters a new era of peace and stability, not many are pleased with the winds of Badlav in the valley. National Conference Vice President Omar Abdullah today questioned whether those people who were seen at Bakshi Stadium would also be queuing up outside polling booths for assembly polls. Not just Omar, but Congress and other like-minded parties have also called it BJP's attempt to exploit national sentiments for electoral gains. Listen in.
Well, it's not for the first time that the Independence Day celebrations are taking place in Kashmir. We have seen Independence Day celebrations even at the peak of terror in 90s in Kashmir. And Independence Day celebration and nationalist sentiment is not about numbers, it's about emotions. But the problem is that the Bharatiya Janata Party wants to exploit even the nationalist sentiment for its electoral gains, and that is all the way unfortunate.
People are reaching to throng like that in assembly election, but they are afraid. They say that 370, removal of 370 section has made the life better. Then why are they not going for election? They should grant statehood. They are afraid of, even in Jammu, they are not going to be win. So they know that what is the pulse of the masses over there. That's why they are not allowing to have assembly or statehood and then elections. And he is rightly so.
Democracy is not destroyed when a son of a chief minister decides to contest elections. Democracy is destroyed when institutions are used to destroy opposition political parties. When it comes to Independence Day celebration, you say, oh, look at how good the security situation is. All people are coming in. If so many people are participating in Independence Day, everything is good.
मैं ये यूथ को पैगाम दे रहा हूँ, कौमेदारी में आओ, ये हमारे लिए ठीक है. सारी जान से अच्छा हिंदुस्तान हमारा, हम बुलबुल है इसकी, ये गुलिस्तान हम. मैं यूथ को यही पैगाम दे रहा हूँ, आओ कौमेदारी में आओ, हिंदुस्तान के झंडे तले डेवलपमेंट चल रही है. आज कानून अच्छा है, आज इंसाफ हो रहा है, आज किसी को बेगुनाह नहीं पकड़ते, जिसने गलत किया है उसी को पकड़ते हैं. ये क्लियर है. अब पाकिस्तान से कुछ नहीं होगा. अब हालात क्लियर हो गए है. क्या हालात है? क्या वो बिगाड़ी मुल्क है पाकिस्तान, वो क्या देगा हमें? हम हिंदुस्तानी थे, है और रहेंगे.
Meanwhile, BJP's vowed that it's the dawn of Naya Kashmir and peace and stability will be an integral part of it.
Well, the day he will start acknowledging the change which is happening in Kashmir. 1 crore 80 lakh tourists came in last season. So there's a change happening. There are IITs, AIMS, hospitals, road network being opened there. So there's a new Kashmir which is happening, and obviously we all are waiting for elections to happen. Sure, elections will also happen soon. But yes, there has to be peace in Kashmir, and then peace is gradually returning to Kashmir now.
देखिए, फारूक अब्दुल्ला साहब के या उमर अब्दुल्ला साहब के ये बयान आते रहते हैं. पॉलिटिकली आप सबको पता है कि एक फ्रस्ट्रेशन का माहौल यहाँ की रीजनल पार्टीज में है. और अब कभी वो कहते हैं कि आर्टिकल 370 जब तक वापस नहीं आएगा हम इलेक्शन नहीं लड़ेंगे. महबूबा जी जो उनके पीएचडी में साथ थी, अब आज गैदरिंग देख के इतनी रिपब्लिक डे पे, जो कि आज फर्स्ट टाइम हिस्टोरिकल इतनी गैदरिंग, चाहे अनंतनाग में आपने देखी तिरंगा रैली, या आज आपने यहाँ बख्शी स्टेडियम श्रीनगर में देखा, इनकी बौखलाहट है. इलेक्शन कमीशन को जब लगेगा कि यहाँ पर इलेक्शन करवाने का अभी माहौल ठीक है तो वो करेंगे. हमें कोई परेशानी नहीं उसमें इलेक्शन करना.
You're watching the News Hour at 10, debate number 2 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
Let's take this across to our guest. Joining us is Sanju Verma of the BJP. Sushila Pandit, activist, joins us on the panel. We're also joined by Aabid Mir Magami of the Congress party. He's a youth leader from the Congress. Aabid Mir, let me begin by asking you this simple question. You know, can you deny the kind of function that we've seen today, the scale on which it was held, is something that has not happened in 2 decades? And that in itself does show there is some kind of change on ground. Would that have been possible without the removal of Article 370, for instance? Request you to unmute yourself and continue talking. Aabid. Yes, Aabid, go ahead. All right, I think there's an audio problem there. We'll try and rectify that audio problem and we'll come back to you. But let me take this question across to Sushila Pandit. Sushila Pandit, in terms of the actual numbers, in terms of the statistics, we all know what has been submitted to the Supreme Court. The centre has very clearly said that the numbers of various serious kinds of crimes, whether we are talking about, stone pelting, whether we're talking about arson attacks, all of these have come down over the past 4 years. Even civilian casualties have drastically come down. Has that contributed to what we are seeing today, the huge lines and queues outside Bakshi Stadium?
It is indeed heartening to see so many people participating in the celebrations for Independence Day. I remember about 40 years back in 1983, immediately after when India won the Cricket World Cup, there was an one-day international held in Srinagar in the same stadium. Indian team didn't know what hit them. You know, a newly minted world champions were booed, and West Indians couldn't believe. They said, we never seen so much support anywhere, not even at home. And this was a popular government led by Farooq Abdullah when there was no army deployment, no curfew, nothing. All those pet peeves that you hear these days, that we are being checked and frisked, and there are all kinds of deployments, obstructions, no such thing. This was an Abdullah-run government. So when Omar Abdullah taunts you to hold elections, he's actually saying that the constituency they have invested in over the decades, an anti-India constituency, a pro-Pakistan constituency, a constituency fed on the rich diet of jihad, with their hide-and-seek association with the jihadis, the separatists, it will hold good. They are telling Indian political class, that if you have the courage, hold elections and we'll tell you that how irrelevant these crowds are who come and celebrate Independence Day. We'll tell you how irrelevant the Tirangas are that are hoisted on the shikaras and on different homes.
So you're saying it's a threat. You're saying it's a veiled threat. You're saying it's a veiled threat in that sense. And I want Ifra Jan to respond to that. Although the entire question of elections also is contentious when it comes to J&K, given the fact that no elections have been held for the past 4 years at least. Ifra Jan, how do you respond to the charges coming in from Sushila Pandit that this is nothing but a veiled threat from your party's leader Omar Abdullah, he says?
You know, Madhavan, for anybody who understands Jammu and Kashmir, for years it used to be terrorists who used to target elections, and it used to be these separatists who used to issue boycott statements, and they used to say, please do not participate in elections, because if anybody participated in elections, that actually in a way meant their accession and acceptance of the Indian Constitution. So this is a basic fact. Anybody who's honest would tell you, or anybody who knows ABC of Jammu and Kashmir history would tell you. In fact, it used to be the National Conference workers who were murdered in thousands, not hundreds. Thousands, simply because they participated in elections and they said, okay, we believe in the Indian Constitution. So now today to say that asking the government of India to abide by the Constitution of India is actually in a way supporting the terrorists, it's a joke. To say that the government of India should hold elections as per the due process in the Constitution of India is basically somehow helping Pakistan. It's actually a joke. It's quite
bizarre that we are actually, somebody is making a point like this. Participating in democracy and participating in elections is an essential part of the Indian constitution. And what Omar Abdullah Sahab is saying, he's very simply putting down a point. He is saying that the BJP government consistently says that the security situation in Jammu and Kashmir is very good. Very well. If the security situation in Jammu and Kashmir is good, then why is it for the past 10 years Jammu and Kashmir has not seen a state election?
Okay,
why
let me take that
BJP
question across to the
government so
BJP.
scared
Let me
of a
take that
state
question
election?
across. If just 1 second, hold on to your thoughts. Let me take that question across to Sanju Verma. Sanju Verma, on one hand, if the government is saying that there is normalcy that has returned, that crimes have come down, if incidents of terror have come down, and perhaps rightly so, can the government then say that the situation is still not okay for elections? Because delimitation exercise was completed last year.
Madhav, I will answer that question, but it's a historic day today. And let's not forget that after 30 years last year, in 2022, at the Lal Chowk in Srinagar, we saw the Indian tricolor being hoisted with a sense of immense pride. Imagine Jammu and Kashmir is very much a part of India, and Janagana Mana बोलने के लिए, वंदे मातरम बोलने के लिए, भारत माता की जय बोलने के लिए, तिरंगा लहराने के लिए, people were scared कि हम यदि तिरंगा लहराएंगे, is it that I'm going to wash my hands off my life? That was the kind of डर का माहौल. Today there is no डर का माहौल, and I will tell you one more thing. We all know about the 1.8 crore tourists who visited Jammu and Kashmir, which is largely a tourist-driven economy last year. But even this year, in the first 7 months, 1.27 crore tourists have already visited Jammu and Kashmir. And I want to tell you the more important thing. And I have this data with me. More than 24,000 people in the gazetted Group B and non-gazetted sections have been given employment. 890 central laws which were earlier not applicable to Jammu, Kashmir and Ladakh are today applicable there. 164 obsolete and discriminatory laws, state laws have been revoked, and 138 old laws which refuse to make sense have been amended. Today, halat ye hai ki people can carry out a peaceful Muharram procession. People can celebrate Diwali in Sharda Mandir, and people can also peacefully carry out a Janmashtami procession in Jammu and Kashmir, which was unthinkable under the corrupt Omar and Farooq Abdullah dispensations, which ruled Kashmir with an iron hand for the longest time and did precious little apart from filling in their own coffers. And last but not the least, this question about election kab honge. Election to honge, but when the panchayat elections were held in Jammu and Kashmir in 2018, do you remember Farooq Abdullah boycotted it? Omar Abdullah boycotted it. Do you remember also, Madhav, that when under the aegis of former Supreme Court Judge Ranjana Desai, the Modi government formed the Delimitation Commission? I want to ask this lady from the National Conference who's giving a big bhashan on elections, why is it that despite Ranjana Desai repeatedly saying, please attend the meetings of the Delimitation Commission, can you tell me how many meetings of the Delimitation Commission, which were held under the aegis of Ranjana Desai, were attended by Farooq Abdullah?
Answer that. Ifra Jan, 2 points. One, you boycotted the delimitation process, and secondly, you boycotted the panchayat elections. So the BJP is saying that, your commitment to democratic process itself has been seen in the past. Your response to that, Ifra?
Let us for a second assume that yes, National Conference did not participate in the panchayat elections. Does that mean that that gives BJP government a pass to not hold state elections for last 5 years? Is she saying that because आपने वो वाले election में participate नहीं किया, इसलिए हम state election नहीं कराएंगे? ये तो कोई तुक नहीं बनता इस बात का. Why are the state elections not being held in Jammu and Kashmir? Why is it that if everything is hunky-dory, according to this lady from the BJP, if everything is hunky-dory, why is it that these people who today you boast of have Tiranga in their hands are not being allowed to participate in an election? They're not being allowed to form their own government. आप इनके हाथ में तिरंगा रखते हैं और खुश होते हैं, हम भी खुश होते हैं, इनकी फोटो चढ़ाते हैं, कहते हैं कि देखिए इनके हाथ में तिरंगा है. इन लोगों को वोट करने क्यों नहीं देते हैं? अगर इनके हाथ में तिरंगा है, इनको वोट करने क्यों नहीं दिया जा रहा? बीजेपी गवर्नमेंट को इस बात का डर क्यों सता रहा है कि वो ये इलेक्शन
Who's running away from elections? Who's running away from elections? Sanju Verma, the question is, Ifra Jan is asking you back that question. Why are you not conducting elections given that delimitation process has been completed and it is a year? And we've seen, in fact, even Amit Shah say in the House, in the Parliament, that nobody is scared of conducting elections. In fact, this is what was stated on 30th March 2022. We have no interest in keeping Jammu and Kashmir under President's rule, he said in Lok Sabha. And he's also said that when Panchayat elections have been... One second, please don't interrupt. Please don't interrupt. I'm asking a question. Please, let's maintain our calm. Let's maintain our calm. We have time. Panchayat elections have been held without any violence. Zilla Panchayat elections over. Delimitations on the verge of completion. I would like to say this once again, that once it's completed, we'll hold elections after consultation with political parties. If this has been stated in Parliament, Sanju Verma, the question is, why has it not happened?
Madhav, I find it very amusing that, each time there is a controversy, the gun is to the 6% reduction in terror-related incidents, 94% conviction in terror financing cases,
Nobody is denying that.
96% reduction in stone pelting cases.
No. One second. Sanju Verma, nobody is denying that. In fact, I started by reading out some statistics of civilian casualties, of stone pelting, of grenade attacks, of arson, of counter-terror. Nobody is questioning the law and order or development. I'm not even going down the debate. The question is, why not hold an election? It is a democracy at the end of the day.
I heard your question.
No, please answer it then.
Free run to the NC. Can I make my point without you interrupting me and breaking my chain of thought?
No, you have spoken quite a bit, Sanju Verma. You've spoken as much as other panelists. But please answer the question. Nobody is talking about the law and order situation having improved. We started debate with that, all development. But why no election then?
I heard your question the first time. If you repeat it 10 times, it's not going to be any different. Let me respond. Amit Shah has said what he needed to say as per the Delimitation Commission, which gave its report in May 2022. There are now 43 seats, assembly constituencies in Jammu, 47 in the Valley. There are 9 constituencies, assembly constituencies, which will have ST status. So the basic groundwork, the skeletal framework has been made, and the Modi government is in touch with various stakeholders, Madhav. When we said we will revoke Article 370, what did Omar Abdullah and Farooq Abdullah say? Himmat hai, to Article हटा के दिखाओ. हमारी हिम्मत देख ली ना. अभी तो आप लोग रोते हो. देख ली ना मोदी सरकार की हिम्मत, 56 इंच छाती की हिम्मत. देख ली ना. Now you are saying election करवा के दिखाना था. पंचायत इलेक्शंस हो गई ना 2018 में. You said DDC election करवा के दिखाओ. 2020 में DDC election करवा.
I want Aabid to come in on that. Aabid Mir Magami, you have challenged us to do many things in the past and we have delivered. That's what the BJP spokesperson is saying. Your response to her?
According to Sanju Verma ji, there is no dar ka mahal. If there is no dar ka mahal, why still Kashmiri Pundits not rehabilitated in Kashmir? Why such an election not held there? Because BJP is fearing defeat. One day they have to hold the election and give power back to the people. And they are totally aware that BJP will be wiped out from the J&K. Because they are failed to give, they have to fail to do anything for the highly educated youth. J&K is the second worst unemployment state in India. You are talking about there is no Darka Mahal? Where is employment?
No, Aabid, the question that I'm going to ask you is that the LG's address specifically says Hartal, shutdowns, etc., thing of the past, tourism and the economy are up. Jammu and Kashmir is seeing a transparent and equitable development. Are you saying that whatever the LG stated, you are going to disagree with all that he says? That there has been no improvement on ground on the situation in Jammu and Kashmir?
No, I am not disagree with him. But if everything is okay here, why Kashmiri Pundits is not still rehabilitated in Kashmir? My question is to Sushila Pandit ji.
Okay. Sanju Verma, would you like to answer that question? If everything is normal, why are Kashmiri Pundits not coming back? Another question coming in from Mr. Magami of the Congress.
Madhav, I will answer your question, but now I have to say this. That people who did nothing for Kashmiri Pundits, when actually Vivek Agnihotri, though this is unrelated, when he released Kashmir Files, people were mocking and saying, Girija Tikku ke saath to kuch hua hi nahi, Sarla Bhatt ke saath to kuch hua hi nahi, Neelkant Ganju ke saath to kuch hua hi nahi. You people have no moral high ground after 34 years. It is thanks to the Modi government that the Neelkant Ganju case is going to be investigated by the SIA, a special investigation agency, something which was unthinkable. Your Omar Abdullah said, Kashmiri genocide to hua hi nahi. Farooq Abdullah said, Kashmiri genocide to hua hi nahi. Kashmir Files was just a propaganda movie. First you admit that Kashmir genocide happened in 1990. First you admit that Neelkant Ganju was murdered brutally. First you admit Sarla Bhatt was murdered brutally. First you admit that 5 naval officers were murdered brutally. First you admit that Kashmiri Hindu women were raped and mutilated. उसके बाद बीजेपी से सवाल करना.
Only propaganda.
No, respond to the question. Are they not relevant questions, Mr. Magami?
Girija Tikku was not raped and murdered. Sarla Bhatt was not murdered. Sharam karo.
Let me complete. If everything is okay, just give me a figure. How many Kashmiri Pundits are rehabilitated after 370? After revocation of 370?
We are not answerable to you.
Give me a figure.
We are not answerable to you. Who are you?
How many Kashmiri Pundits are rehabilitated in Kashmir after revocation of 370? Give me a figure.
I don't want to answer your question.
Okay, I want to bring in now on that note Sushila Pandit. Sushila Pandit, you know, the questions that are being raised, about what has happened in relation to the Kashmiri Pundits. There have been attempts at rehabilitating them, but is this a fair point, according to you, that the Congress and perhaps even the NC would raise that if situation is normal, why have Kashmiri Pundits not been rehabilitated in the valley?
You're asking me, Madhav?
Yes, Sushila Pandit, that question is for you.
Madhav, I'm absolutely in agreement with this argument that litmus test of normalcy in Kashmir will be a voluntary return of Kashmiri Pundits, exactly the manner in which they voluntarily left Kashmir in the face of murder and mayhem. But the point is, if National Conference and Congress and PDP start asking this question, people must ask, when you ruled Kashmir for several decades, did you make that a litmus test of normalcy? Today you ask this question in order to win a debating point.
Exactly.
Do you really sincerely want Kashmiri Pundits back? And if you do, what did you do in the last 34 years? This is our 34th year of exile.
Let him make his point, sir. Let him make his point. You have asked a question. Listen to the response now.
No policy, no decision, nothing was put on table. There's no white paper. There was no justice.
Absolutely.
I would like to ask this question to BJP, but this question doesn't lie in the mouth of Congress, NCP, PDP. None of them have the moral right to even ask this question.
Yes,
okay,
we are
Ifra Jan.
a political
Okay, I got your point. Ifra Jan, now respond to that. You don't have the moral right because not only NC presided over whatever transpired and of course did not do anything to correct the situation, especially when it came to rehabilitation of Kashmiri Pundits. Even those horrific crimes that were committed, the fact that they were not prosecuted and seen to its logical conclusion despite several incidents, several ghastly crimes taking place, many in fact say that the prosecution was under the NC government. They could have easily done a lot more, but did not do it.
Madhavan, I have heard everybody. I've not interrupted anyone, and I would like it that nobody interrupts me back. Please give me 2 minutes. First point, National Conference presided over such when the Kashmiri Pundits left en masse, it was National Conference that presided over it. Absolutely wrong. A simple Google search would tell you Jammu and Kashmir was under Jagmohan's was the governor, and India was under, it wasn't even the Congress government. See, again, this guy is coming up. India was under VP Singh's government, and the central government was VP Singh's government, and VP Singh's government was in alliance with the BJP government. National Conference government fell in 1989. National Conference's government fell in 1989. And it only came back in 1990.
Till when was Mr. Farooq Abdullah the Chief Minister? Was he not the Chief Minister till 2002? One second. One second. Mr. Sushila Pandit.
Yeah.
Mr. Sushila Pandit is countering you with facts. Even if the crime did not take place under Mr. Farooq Abdullah, he was Chief Minister several terms after that, Ifra Jan. What did he do? What did he do?
He was an elected Chief Minister and he ran away.
Who was shot
He
dead
threw us
in
to the
Jammu
wolves and ran away. It is shameful.
He got his time now. He does not want the truth
Because
to come
you
out.
lie.
Ifra Jan,
You let me
Ifra Jan,
respond.
please
No,
tell us, what did the NC governments do? There have been multiple NC governments since '89. What have they done in terms of prosecuting those responsible for the horrific crimes? I think that's a basic question I'm asking you.
If everybody is going to speak in between, how am I going to respond?
Please respond now.
Number one, National Conference is the first person to be murdered in Jammu and Kashmir. Terrorism-related incidents was not a Kashmiri Pandit. It was a National Conference worker whose name was Naushehri. It was a National Conference
for waving a Tiranga on his shop.
No,
Does that mean that it is an open license?
Okay, one second. Sushila Pandit, let me just come in now. And I'm going to ask Ifra a very simple question. Ifra, I am asking you a specific question on the prosecution. One second. Unfortunately, even you are doing whataboutery today. You are talking about how National Conference is a victim of terror. That's not the question. The question I'm asking you is, what did National Conference specifically do in terms of prosecuting these crimes? Why is Yasin Malik a free man until a few years ago? Because your government still, successive governments did not act on it.
Number one, National Conference government fell in 1989. It only returned in 1996. So that is a fact. From 1989 to 1996, there was no National Conference government in Jammu and Kashmir. It was the central government ruling directly.
Who was ruling from 96 to 2002, ma'am?
And VP Singh's government was an alliance
Who ruled from 96 to 2002?
That is one. Now
Who ruled from 2008 to 2012?
Let me respond to your second point, Madhavan. Let me come into that. Now, what did we do from 2008 to 2014? Now, let me respond. The only policy in Jammu and Kashmir to bring back the Kashmiri Pundits was the Prime Minister's rehabilitation scheme. That was the only policy till date that Jammu and Kashmir has. That was brought by the National Conference government. What happened under
I'm asking you a question on prosecuting the crimes, and you are talking to me about rehabilitation. I am saying, what about those ghastly murders, madam? Ifra Jan, I'm not asking about rehabilitation. I'm asking you about the ghastly crimes that took place.
6,000 Kashmiri Pundits were rehabilitated, including given homes, and 20,000 applications were received.
Ifra Jan,
and these Kashmiri Pundits that
my question to you was about what happened in terms of prosecuting those ghastly crimes. You have given me a long rant on what is the rehabilitation track record of your party. I'm not even talking about that point. We move on from the debating point.
May I please come in quickly, madam?
Question also. Now there is a last question on the prosecution. In Jammu and Kashmir, there is a policy of basically killing terrorists in encounters. 99% of your terrorists were killed in encounters. So who will you prosecute? Dead people? The only
what about Yasin Malik? What about Yasin Malik? What about Yasin Malik, madam?
Informers.
What about Yasin Malik and others who have been caught on celluloid? What about those individuals? I want the specific point to be answered by Sushila Pandit. One second, coming to you, Sanju Verma. Sushila Pandit, I want to specifically answer this. She says, who could we have prosecuted? Terrorists were all killed in encounters.
Most 99% of them.
That's a question you asked. I want Sushila Pandit to respond to you on that.
The ones who actually
is Bitta Karate living or not? Is Yasin Malik living or not? And they are self-confessed mass murderers.
Yasin Malik was
self-confessed mass murderers. And they are living. They married. They raised families.
Yasin Malik has not been prosecuted for Kashmiri Pandit massacre, sir. Go and check. BJP government has not prosecuted him for any
Why didn't you prosecute him
That's
for massacre?
Why
didn't you prosecute him for killing squadron leader Ravi Khanna? Why didn't you prosecute him for abducting Rubiya Saeed? Why didn't you prosecute him for killing Neelkanth Sanju? Why didn't you prosecute him for killing Tikalal Taplu? You did not prosecute Yasin Malik. You did not prosecute Bitta Karate. Did you prosecute Bitta Karate? Did you prosecute Bitta Karate?
Why didn't you? You're a BJP stooge.
Bitta Karate was a self-confessed mass murderer.
A voice
Did
for
you
Kashmiri
prosecute
Pundits.
him?
If you were a voice for Kashmiri Pundits, you would be screaming for justice.
Why did you give clemency to Bitta Karate?
Screaming for justice for Kashmiri Pundits. You're not doing that.
You're
absolutely not doing that. No
Okay.
wonder
Did you give
Kashmiri
clemency
Pundits
to
on
Farouk
ground
Ahmed?
tell us
Let's not
that you
go
have
get into
nothing to do
personal
with their
character
cause.
certificates. Ifra Jan, that's not the place and that's not anyone's
But
place
we-
over here, all right? Let's
Madhav
stick
and
to the
Kashmiri
issue at debate.
Pundits on
Ifra
ground
Jan, you've not
come
been
up
able to
with
answer that point, but I'm going to allow the
statement.
BJP spokesperson to come back to you. The point and the government's failure in prosecuting dreaded individuals such as Yasin Malik and Bitta Karate, I think is a matter of public record. Sanju Verma wants to respond to you though. Yes, Sanju Verma.
Madhav, I'm reminded of Farooq Abdullah, and this is all over YouTube, all over the public domain. So nobody can say that Sanju Verma is concocting a story. In September 2020, Farooq Abdullah made a shameful statement and with a lot of bravado. Kashmiris would prefer to be ruled by China than by the BJP-led government in India. And then as if that was not enough, in October 2020, Farooq Abdullah, who's prone to blabbering, he said with China's support, we are very confident Article 370 will be removed. The revocation will be removed and Article 370 will come back in Jammu and Kashmir. This is Farooq Abdullah openly suggesting that China's intervention in Kashmir's internal affairs is kosher.
Yeah.
So we don't need bhashan from Farooq Abdullah's
Well, there have been many controversial statements that
representative.
have been made. We are completely out of time, though, Sanju Verma. We'll have to leave it there for the moment. Sushila Pandit, Ifra Jan, Aabid Mir Magami, I'd like to thank all of you for joining us. Certainly, there are questions. There are questions about the democratic process. There are questions about whether there should be a political vacuum for this long. There are, of course, serious questions of security as well in a place such as Jammu and Kashmir. But at the same time, politicians on all sides certainly have to answer whether their commitment to the democratic process has been uniform as the voices they are raising today. We'll have to leave it there for the moment, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to thank all of you for joining us this evening.